Welcome to the Mighty Emotions Podcast. I'm your host, Giselle. I'm a certified emotions coach, and I teach you how to respond better to your emotions so you can feel better in your life. My mission is to show you how to work with your emotions to become more emotionally resilient. Your emotions are not designed to overpower you, they're designed to empower you. On this podcast, I share what our emotions are, how to understand them and work with them, and the tools you need to reclaim your power and get unstuck from emotional pain so you can find fulfillment in your life again. I'm so glad you're here. Now let's get into the episode. Hello, beautiful people. How are you? I'm so glad that you have chosen to drop in for another episode. If this is your first episode, welcome to the Mighty Emotions Podcast. Welcome to everyone who's listening. I hope that you are doing well and that you are taking care of yourself and that you're learning more and more about how human you are and how okay that is and how we can work with all of it. We can learn to move through all of it. Right now in my life, I am finishing up my book. I am so excited for this book to be out in the world. It is really a labor of love. It's been a labor of love for the past couple of years. And I really just think it's going to give you so much valuable information and such a sense of clarity and calm, inner peace, like everything that we're all searching for. But we just get stuck in confusion of like, is it this? Is it that? Is it trauma? Is it attachment? Is it that? Like, is it, I'm an empath? Is it ADHD? Like, we're looking for all these different diagnoses, right? So I hope that this book will diagnose you as a human being and help you to just feel the relief that comes with knowing that there's nothing wrong with you. You're not broken. You're not broken. You just were given the tools and the knowledge to navigate life, which can be really, really complicated. And that's exactly why I created the Mighty Emotions method, because I'm someone that really loves a method. I really love structure. We all need structure. And I don't over structure. Like, I'm not like, oh, my whole life needs to be super organized. Trust me, it's not. But I do believe in the power of systems and believe in the power of streamlining things and making things less difficult than they need to be. Like, a lot of times we completely overcomplicate everything. Like, we really do. And I love efficiency. I've just always been that way. Maybe it's the manifesting generator that I identify with. I don't know. Um, but if you know human design, but I really think that it's so important to create systems to make our lives easier. Like, our lives are complicated enough. There's enough things that will kind of curveballs that will come at us, or side paths that will detours that we'll take, right? But if we can have these systems, if we can have these processes, then life feels a lot more manageable. And that's what it's all about. Like, being a well-adjusted adult is about living a life that is manageable for you. And there are ways to do that no matter what our circumstances are. And so realizing, as I was like getting off the healing hamster wheel, as I call it, which is the phase where we realize, that there are tools out there and we get obsessed with fixing ourselves and healing and feeling better and getting relief all the time and never being uncomfortable. And it becomes this obsessive path that we take. And it's normal in the beginning, right? It's normal because whatever is just like the first messaging that you access, like that's kind of it. But as we evolve and we learn that we're not broken, and we learn how, like, the nuance with these tools, right? Like, there's a way to use these tools that is healthy and is going to allow us to flourish, and then there's a way to use these tools that's kind of addictive and not so healthy, right? So as I was learning more about these nuances, and I was learning about, healing from my past and becoming more self-aware and learning about, how I behave towards certain things and understanding the deeper why, it really led me to, if you know my story, it led me to understanding our emotions and wanting to understand emotions more, because I realized that at the root of every experience we have, our core emotions, our emotions, sadness, anger, fear, guilt, it's all repetitive, right? And I've always been someone that loves finding patterns. Again, because when we find a pattern, then we can create a system to streamline things and make our lives easier. So as I was doing all this inner work and realizing that, oh, there's a pattern here. Like every experience, there are the same kind of emotions that are coming up with every experience. There might be different thoughts, there might be different feelings, there might be different stories, but the same core emotions are present in every experience, right? Like without fail, you're going to feel an emotion when you have something happen to you, right? Whether it's pleasurable, whether it's not so comfortable, right? So understanding this, recognizing this pattern helped me see, well, if that's the case, then understanding how to work with these emotions is going to help me work with any situation in my life. Because if I can understand, okay, this is a healthy way to respond to anger, this is a healthy way to respond to guilt, this is a healthy way to respond to fear, then every situation, no matter what the uniqueness of the situation is, when I recognize fear or I recognize anger or I recognize shame, whatever it is, I already know how to take myself through that and to move through that to the other side to get resolution. Because I'm not focused on the external circumstance or the event, I'm focused on what's within my control, which is taking care of myself through that event, through that external circumstance. How am I going to grow through that? How am I going to be restored after I get to the other side of that? And it's the same process every single time. And that's a great thing because that means that we can have the deep knowing and understanding that no matter what comes our way, we have the tools to navigate it. So often we can feel like, I can't handle this. This is too much for me. And sometimes, let's be honest, sometimes it is too much. Like sometimes we're just dealing with an onslaught of things and it's like, I am one person, or I don't have the support that I need to deal with this, or I was not prepared for this. And that's okay, right? Because when you use the Mighty Emotions method, when you have this framework for processing your emotions, it will help you see what tools you need to collect along the way and what support you need to get and what resources you're missing. And again, you get to just focus on the root. You get to focus on the real foundation of things instead of focusing on the circumstances, the external things, because that's always going to look slightly different. And this is why people don't end up healing from a certain thing, because they're not focused on healing the emotions that have come up. They're focused on healing the story. They're focused on like making sense of the story, going round and around. Oh, it's because of my parents. Oh, it's because this person did this thing to me. Okay, I just need to not like care, or I just need to detach, or I just need to, set boundaries and stop hanging out with this person. All of that could be true. All of that could be true. But then the next time we find ourselves in a similar situation or in a similar relationship dynamic or in a similar pattern, I did this with work, I did this with relationships. I would just, oh, I healed from this, I healed from this relationship. And then I would find myself with somebody else at a different time, and it looked different on the outside, but it felt the same in my nervous system because I had not actually healed from the previous experience because I hadn't focused on addressing the root. I had just tried to deal with the surface level of things because that's all I knew at the time. But when I started to deal with the root, when I started to deal with the shame and what the shame was showing me and the sadness, what the sadness was showing me, I gained so much wisdom and so much insight. Once we gain wisdom, it can't be taken away. Like once you know something, you can't unknow it, right? So by doing the work to understand and gain that wisdom, the next time you face a situation, you literally are not going to be able to approach it in the same way because you have a completely different perspective, right? And we think that we've shifted our perspective when we've dealt with the surface level stuff, but we haven't. We haven't, because the root of the wisdom is the emotion. The root of the wisdom is understanding, okay, what was I needing in that situation? So that next time I know what I need. So here's an example. If in dating, if I was in a toxic relationship, let's say, and my partner cheated on me, which by the way did happen, And I just felt manipulated and gaslit and emotionally abused. Well, guess what? I could focus on what he did. I could focus on the cheating. I could focus on the fact that, you know what, I'm never going to let anyone cheat on me again. And I can end up in a relationship with somebody else and have so much fear and mistrust that, what are you doing? Are you cheating on me? Who are you talking to? Are you talking to this person? I could have so much insecurity in that relationship because I focused on healing from the situation or the previous circumstance where I was cheated on, and I didn't focus on understanding what was the shame and the stories that I created about what that meant about me and my worth. Right? What were the things that were meaningful in that relationship, and what were the things that don't align with me, I'm not compatible with. Getting clear on all of that requires me looking at the sadness, the shame, the fear, the guilt, the anger, honestly, the disgust, and listening to what those emotions have to teach me, and using that information so that the next time I go into a circumstance, I'm not afraid that you're going to cheat on me because I know what I value. I looked for that. I sought that out intentionally. I was clear on my worth and who I am. I was clear on what I will and will not tolerate, how I will and will not communicate. All of that clarity only came by processing the emotions fully. And the beautiful part is that this process is repeatable because every situation has a pattern. Every experience you have is going to have core emotions that come up, and those core emotions are always going to signal the same underlying needs that aren't being met, the same values that you need to reassess, the same morals that you need to look at. And when you know how to take yourself through that process and integrate that, you can just repeat that every time something challenging happens, every time something difficult happens, so that the wisdom you gain isn't going to lead you to go backwards. It's going to take you forwards. You are going to be a new person, literally born anew, restored to wholeness because you did the real deep work. You got to the root of it. And that's what I love about my work. It's why I love helping clients. It's why I love sharing this information with people because this saved me, you guys. This really saved me. Knowing this has allowed me to have the confidence that, you know what, life might throw me a curveball, but I have the inner tools to work through it, to move through it. I know what my needs are, I know healthy ways of getting them met. I will be okay on the other side of it, no matter what it is. And I've gone through some really horrible things already. So, but as we gain beautiful things in life, sometimes we can be like, oh my God, I'm so grateful for this thing and I just want to hold on to this thing. And then life will be life and it will do what it does. And all we can do to respond to that in a way that doesn't destroy us is know how to process our emotions and take care of ourselves. That is what's within our control. No matter what happens, what's within our control is knowing how to get the care that we need. This doesn't mean we do it all on our own. This doesn't mean we're completely self-sufficient, right? This process is something that will sometimes show us where we actually really need someone else to support us. But it gives us the clarity to know where you need support and where you need to support yourself, or where you need to get some kind of spiritual guidance, help, whatever, where you need to depend on something greater than you, right? And knowing how to bring yourself back into a state of alignment after life takes you off course, knowing how to get back on track is really a powerful thing that we're going to need our whole lives. Like, yes, our lives can go smoothly. There can be minor bumps, there could be major bumps, but regardless of that, we will always have emotions, guys. We will always have these core emotions. And when we don't understand them, that confusion is going to lead us to take action that just creates more confusion and chaos. But when we do understand them, we gain so much self awareness, so much wisdom, so much inner peace. So I really hope that as I share these podcast episodes, I hope that you get my book when it comes out because it's going to be really clearly articulating everything that you need to know to process your emotions in simple terms. It's really going to help. Like, it's really going to help you gain this foundation, this solid foundation of how to navigate whatever life throws your way, because you're not focused on the events themselves or the people themselves, because the people, the characters, the setting is going to change all the time. But what never changes is your core emotions. What never changes is your core needs. So understanding that and having that foundation is going to carry you so far. And it's going to prevent you from getting stuck when things get really hard. And it's going to prevent you from getting lost. Or even if you do get lost, it's going to help you get back on track a lot faster, right? I'm not going to guarantee you're not going to get lost, but you can find your way back because you have a map, you have a guide, you have a method. So if you want to learn the Mighty Emotions method, you want me to help you navigate a challenging situation that you're going through right now, then the link is below for you to book a session with me. You can either book a one-on-one take action session or just a needs assessment where we focus specifically on helping you identify where your needs aren't being met in your life and how you can be more proactive about taking care of yourself and nurturing yourself. So those are the two kind of options for one-on-one support. I have some really exciting things coming out in the months and years ahead, guys. I have such a plan for Mighty Emotions and bringing you resources and tools that are going to teach you what we all really should have learned in school. Okay. Um, but the book is coming out this summer, depending on when you're listening to this. It might already be out, but the book is coming out August 2023, Outrunning Your Emotions. It's going to be like, I want it to be the emotions Bible, honestly. And I love it. As I'm as I'm editing it, I'm like, "Oh my god, I'm in love with this book. I wish I had this book so many years ago. I wish I had it when I was growing up and I had someone to teach me these things." So, I'm really excited for you to have it, for you to read it. I also have a sneak peek. So, part 1 of the book, which is chapters 1, 2, and 3 that break down how to face your feelings, which is really like how to understand where your feelings come from, what they are, what's happening when you experience an emotion, all of that. That is available for you to read for free. So the way that you can get in touch with me, I want you to go to my Instagram, which is linked below. But if you follow me on Instagram, mighty_emotions, and if you don't follow me, hi, follow me. Because that way you'll be updated on everything that's coming to support you. But go to Mighty Emotions, mighty_emotions, or go to mightyemotions.com. Send me a message with the word book. You just have to type in BOOK, book. Send me a message saying book, and then we can chat about you getting early reader access to part 1. And even just part 1 is super powerful. Like part 1, I don't go into each core emotion. I go into that more in part 2. And then in part 3, I really go into needs and understanding your needs deeply and all of that. There's so much insight and wisdom that I've gained on my journey, things that I've learned. I share the resources that have helped me as well within the book. Throughout the book, it's all cited. But if you want access to get this information for free before the book even comes out, then send me a message, BOOK, the word book, and you'll be able to get early reader access to that. So I'm really excited for what's to come with Mighty Emotions, you guys. I love your messages with you saying that you find everything that I'm sharing super helpful. It's giving you clarity, perspective, a sense of control and peace. And that is the whole mission, right? That is what I want. And I'm so glad that I'm adding value for you in that way. I hope you've been enjoying the interviews that I'm doing. I am gonna have interviews periodically. I wish I could do it more regularly, but it honestly depends on people's schedules. So there'll be solo episodes for sure, but there'll also be amazing guest interviews. And I hope that, again, normalizing emotions through these conversations is going to give you a sense of relief and the knowing that you're totally okay as you are, and that we can all use support. And that doesn't mean that we're broken. It just means that sometimes we're wounded, we're injured, but we can heal. So, with that, I hope that this episode brought you value. Again, if you want free early reader access, send me a message with the word BOOK, book, and we can get you set up with that. I love you so much for listening, and I'm looking forward to us chatting on the next episode. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. It would mean so much if you could subscribe, leave a review, share with your friends and family, and let me know what you think by going to my Instagram at mighty_emotions and connecting with me and letting me know what you loved about today's episode. It really means a lot that you support this podcast, and I love coming to you each week with a new episode. So be sure to subscribe, let me know what you think, and take care of yourself.